Earlier in this activity, I tried to focus you on this URL up here, the web address, and I asked you to try to extract some additional information about this particular website from the URL. And I thought as a little bonus at the end, I'd give you some information about that. Now, you may have used techniques that I didn't use, and that's great. Love to hear about them, but I'm going to show you a couple of simple things about a URL. First of all, this section here, the https:// simply identifies this as a web page. The internet has a variety of different pieces. I mean, we know we have email. There's a service called FTP where we can transfer files between machines. We tend to think of the internet as this one space. There's actually multiples, and this designation is telling you that you are in fact on a web page. Okay, the next section, ending with the .com, is what's called the domain or the host of this particular website. Okay, domains will end with things like .com, .edu, .net are some of the most common ones. There are others. You'll also see the more recent, but not all that recent designations, things like .jp for Japan, .us for the United States, so a different system that was introduced that identified websites by the country of origin. Note that in this particular URL, you have a dot in the name. So you have this webdesign.tootsplus.com. That can also be important information, this dot. The domain itself may actually be tootsplus.com. And this may be a subdomain or a sub-area of that. So that's information that we can use in a couple of minutes to try to move around the site and learn more about it. Now, there are a couple of things you could have done. You could have simply come up here to this link. Often, this link in the upper left-hand corner that defines the site or is the brand of the site. Often this will lead you back to the home page, and that's a good place to start. So let me click there and see what happens. And look at that. Right away, the address changed to just this tootsplus.com, and by exploring this page a little bit, I'll gather information about the site itself. Now, another thing that you can do is I can simply take everything after the domain part. So everything after this domain part is simply a path to this particular page. So you can see that there's this piece, which seems to be the name of this page, and then there's a / and there's the word articles. Now this would indicate to me that there is probably a folder or a directory in this space named articles, and then different specific articles are contained in it. So one thing I could do is I could simply delete the name of this article and hit enter, and I may return to this article section. Now I didn't in that case, but sometimes when you do that, what's going to happen is you're going to come to a higher level that will just perhaps list a whole series of articles. So that may have happened. In this case it didn't. It redirected us back another level. So let's take a look. Another thing you could have done was to take this whole section, both of these sections off, and try to get back to the root of this subdomain, the part with the web design in it. Okay, and by doing that you can see that I'm still in tootsplus.com, but I'm not back at that basic level. I'm in this area called web design, and this is going to be more focused on, well, in this case web design, but on the particular grouping or topic or subtopic rather of the site. Now, the last thing I could have done, and clicking on this link got me there, but if it didn't for some reason, I simply could have erased that part. And now I'm at what I believe is the root or the very top level of this website. You know, this is telling me I'm on the site. I'm on a web page, and this is telling me that this is the top level of that domain, and I hit enter. And that does in fact bring me back to this area that was linked here. Now, word of warning, when you do things like this, you may actually come up at certain points where it gives you an error message and says the page can't be found. That's really a function of how the site itself was designed, what files were put in what locations to kind of show you content. But if that happens to you, it's no harm, no foul. You simply can hit the back arrow and you can try again to alter the URL. So it's kind of a fun activity. You can often learn more about a site and what's involved there by knowing a little bit about the URL and by modifying that to explore the site.